This is my 2022 Ducati Desert Sled Fasthouse. If you've seen any of the videos on my channel, I've done a lot of uploads and videos about some of the modifications that I've done and how I did them. But I have yet to do a walkthrough of all of the updates or upgrades that I've done to my bike. And my wife and I are camping right now. We brought our bikes with us. She has her TW200 and my Desert Sled, and figured what better time than now to make this video, because the scenery here is a lot better than that in my own driveway. So I'm gonna go through all the things that I've upgraded. So I'm gonna start with the off-road focused modifications first, ones that are more protection based, things like that. Up top here, we have these very cheap off-brand Amazon bash guards. Now these were like 25 bucks on Amazon, and the only thing that I upgraded was this bolt right here was not deep enough to really grab the threads back here. So I went to the hardware store and I just got the bolt with the same threading that was about a ½ inch longer for both sides. And these have been solid. I've dropped it on both sides more than once. All right, nice. Hey, those saved it. Huh. And they haven't broken, they've held up, they've protected my levers. Everything's been great and fantastic. Then down here, I've got this giant loop. My wife calls it the oh shit handle. It's basically the grab handle in case, you know, I get myself into trouble and I need a set of hands to help pull me out of whatever trouble I'm in. Right now they're tightened a little bit tighter so I can tuck them underneath the head guard, because otherwise they flap around in the wind. These are sweet. It wasn't too much either. I think it was like 11 or 12 bucks on Amazon. Now these are probably a crossover, both comfort mod and also off-road rideability, because these auxiliary lights that are 2-inch LED lights, they are run off of this switch that I put up here, and they're bright. I'm gonna turn this on, and you flip this guy on. You see, they're pretty dang bright for Amazon ditch lights. So they're off of that light switch up on my handlebars, wired those in so they can be run either when the bike is on or off. One clever way that I save some money mounting these lights is, instead of buying a dedicated fork mount for the auxiliary lights, I just went to the hardware store and bought these insulated P-clamps that were the right size for my forks, and they work awesome. They make me a lot more visible. It's a lot easier to see me when I'm riding down the road. They also, it's not very dark outside, but they light up the entire world. Then for off-road riding, come down here to the JFG Racing skid plate. So this thing is beefy. It is 4mm thick aluminum that is powder coated black. It actually holds up pretty well to scratches. It's one of the only skid plates that I found for the Desert Sled that actually mounts to the frame and not the front points of the engine. So there's a lot of skid plates aftermarket that mount to the engine, but other than the BJ's manufacturing skid plate that they did for the actual Mint 400 race, this is the only other one that I found that actually mounts just to the frame. It's taken a beating, it's taken more than its fair share of hits off-road, and it has held up quite well. The other off-road mod that I've done is these off-road foot pegs that I actually bought originally for my wife's TW, and she didn't like them. Her boots didn't fit under her shift lever the right way, so I took the cutoff wheel and had to shave them down so they would fit in the Ducati foot peg mounts, but they do pretty well. They're about double the size of the stock ones. Next is when you go off-road and there's soft ground, soft sand or dirt, or you don't want this 450-pound bike to fall over on you. And so I've got off-brand from Amazon. It's like 13 bucks. Those are that's the skid plate, the grab handle, the auxiliary lights, the hand guards, the enlargement plate, and the foot pegs. I also almost forgot this oil cooler guard to prevent any loose rocks or gravel pieces from flying up and damaging the fins. It was about 40 bucks. For off-road comfort is these knee grip pads. These make it a lot easier to ride off-road. These are just about the right size where you can still see the Fasthouse emblems, but they allow me to grip the bike a lot easier. I also put this dual layer, I forget what these are called, but it's actually made for the Honda Africa Twin, but I made the bottom mount work for the Desert Sled, so you can kind of see how it's just bolted underneath the original brake lever. The brake lever has not been damaged or impacted in any way. It's just bolted in there, and it is solid. It's not moving at all. And then I also, because if anybody has taken their Desert Sled off-road, they know that the rear brake switch is pathetic. It breaks and it falls apart, and your brakes are a mess. Don't think that's supposed to happen. So I actually did one of the Banjo hydraulic rear brake switches that I installed back here, so that this is actually now what controls the rear brake light, and put a bolt down here to act as the brake stop. That way the brakes go on that way, right? That's cool. Other thing I did, the off-road parks that we ride on, you require a spark arrestor, which the Desert Sled does not have. So I took the original Ducati baffles off of the end of the exhaust, and I have another video of me making these spark arrestors out of dollar store kitchen strainer guards. So that act as spark arrestors, works pretty well, and it makes the bike sound a little bit better than it did stock, so that's nice. Oh, one more, this might be my favorite off-road mod, this is a mud flap Mudguard that I actually made from a nursery pot. So this is made out of a stock nursery pot. It is cheap plastic. I've got it cut in the shape of the fender to continue on. I've got a bolt that makes it mount to the subframe bumper, and it keeps my back clean. It's quite nice, and I was supposed to be temporary. I was going to get a different mud guard on there, but it works so well that I have not seen any reason to change it. So I also have one of these auxiliary gas tanks, because the tank on the Desert Sled, it's big enough, it's fine, but it's not like the biggest, and I carry gas both for me and my wife's TW, which only has like a gallon gas tank. So this is a 1.3 gallon gas tank. The way that it mounts is kind of like a Rotopax, but it's not a Rotopax. Take off my bungees. I also have a lock for this if I were to be going anywhere where I was not near the bike, but don't need that right now. So it's got one of those openings like that, like a Rotopax. Got the mount, which I have on this rear rack, which Amazon had a weird, I think it was a glitch. They had a deal on Amazon where this was originally supposed to be like 90 bucks, and they had it on sale for like $18, and there was only one left. And so I bought it, and the next day this was back up to like 75, 85 bucks, something like that. So I was like, even if it's the worst, even if it's crap and it breaks on me, it was 18 bucks. Good deal. And this, I mean, this is a gallon of gas, so it weighs a good amount. And it's been bouncing around. I've been hitting potholes like crazy on this, and there's no signs of it breaking or getting damaged. So that's our auxiliary gas tank. I think that wraps up all of the off-road mods. So next, I think it's just the comfort mods that are left. The stock seat sucks. It's hard. It's a board. Your butt hurts. You're not friends with your seat when you're done with a 45-minute ride on the stock seat. So what I did was I got one of these Airflow, here's the brand right here, Airflow seat covers. And it's this like 8-dimensional webbing, printed fiber stuff that allows for, when you put your weight on it, it holds its shape and airflow is able to go through it. It's a hot Ducati Italian bike, and so being able to have air go underneath your tushy is quite nice. It makes it so that it's not quite so unbearable on those hot summer rides. It also allows me to go about 2 or 3 times longer for rides before my butt starts to feel sore. Another comfort mod, I chopped off my shift lever. So this is actually the stock shift lever, but I shortened it. So the original brake lever had a divot or a ground down part. It's kind of like a natural brake point, where if you were to drop your bike, it would break halfway through the lever and you'd still be able to make it home. So I just took a saw and cut it off right there, put some heat shrink, and so it's not bare metal exposed. So now when I shift, it's kind of like a shorty lever where I can hold it with just 2 fingers. I don't need all 4, and I'm not hitting my knuckles like I was with the original lever. So this is quite nice. Ooh, my heated grips. So I don't have the Ducati heated grips, but I have these aftermarket heated grips. They're called ProMaster, I think is the brand. They were $65 on Amazon. And instead of wiring them up where they came with a control that you mount to your handlebars, but I didn't want to use that. I wanted to use Ducati's controls through the actual menu. So I wired them in to the actual OEM wiring. So I took the wires for these heated grips, ran them underneath the gas tank on this side of the bike where the OEM wires get plugged in. I have an entire video of how I did that, and now I get to use the actual menu to control the heated grips. Really, really nice. I did have to pay Ducati $80 to activate that feature on the menu because it's not turned on automatically, but I was able to do that. They handle the gas side. There's the wire that's down here that snaps back, and if I were to buy the Ducati ones of these, they would have had the same thing. They still have a wire like this if you were to buy the Ducati heated grips. So one more I almost forgot is this Windguard or windscreen. It's kind of like a Dart knockoff. You can see the brackets that mount to the turn signals there. And this is one of the first things that I did to my bike, and it definitely does take the wind off of your chest, but I don't love the look of it. So I've toyed around with taking it off, but we're about to get into winter time, so wind chill is a real thing. So I'll probably leave it on for the rest of the winter, and then in the springtime I'll take it off again. But that's, I think, the last one. So there you have it. That is everything. All the modifications that I've done on my 2022 Ducati Desert Sled Fasthouse edition. I've really enjoyed this bike. It's probably the best bike I've ever owned. One of the slowest bikes I've ever owned, but easily my favorite. And it does quite well both on road and off-road if you just do a couple of modifications to it to make it so that it's a little bit safer to ride and you're not going to be left stranded anywhere. It's pretty sweet. So what do you all think? Which mod did I do that was your favorite? And which mods should I consider doing next? Let me know in the comments.